Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Big up to everyone watching. And I hope you are all doing, I hope you're having a great time, whatever you're doing. Listen, we're going to be talking about Nicholas Jackson. Today, we're also going to be talking about Levi Colwill. Sad news for Colwill. Yeah, it's unfortunate. He's got a problem. Let's just put it like that. He's got a problem. We're gonna go into details in a second. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. We're on the road to 250,000 subscribers. Appreciate every single one of you. Yeah, Colwell's had a setback, not a small setback, a huge setback, to be honest with you. Chelsea come out and addressed the situation, saying that Colwill has undergone successful surgery to an anterior cruciate ligament injury. And he's reporting back to Cobham for pre-season, or he had reported back to Cobham, and then he injured himself in training. Medical assessments confirmed surgery would be the required course of action. Levi will now begin his recovery and be supported by the club's medical department at Cobham during his rehabilitation phase, which is really, really sad and unfortunate. And it raises a question, which is, do Chelsea need to go back in the market to sign a short-term replacement for Levi Colwill, because he's going to be injured for a couple of months, most likely. I mean, this is a relatively serious, it is a serious injury. I don't think there's any other way of describing it. But one of the questions people have been talking about is we're going to get cover. And according to Fabrizio Romano, the answer is no, that there's no immediate emergency cover plans for Levi Colwill. We're not going to be signing anyone as it stands. We have full trust in the current squad, and Jorel Hatto is able to play at centre-back as well as a left-back. Now, interesting enough, if you want to compare that to other sources like Kieran Gill from the Daily Mail, Chelsea he says that they're assessing whether to bring in another centre-back. And Fabrizio says the opposite. He says that we have full trust in what we're doing. But I mean, we had full trust in Petrovic, and we just sold him to Bournemouth. So what is trust these days? I mean, maybe we are going in the market. We're just keeping it quiet. It's not like we didn't try and go out and sign other centre-backs. We were linked with Dean Hoyce, and that was a deal that really could have happened if Real Madrid didn't come swooping in. So, Chelsea have certainly looked around at some good players, but I don't see this as a position that we're going to invest in a rush. And I think that we just have enough cover to be able to deal without Levi Colwill. Fofana is one of our best centre-backs when he's fit, and he's injured most of the time, and we still managed to get fourth in the Premier League, win the Conference League and the Club World Cup without him featuring the majority of the time. So I would like to think that we're going to be able to handle ourselves without Levi Colwill. And whether that's Hatto filling in as a left centre-back, or Fofana, Tosin, or Chalobah filling in. I mean, we have options in there. It's not like we don't have any players at the moment. People are saying Anselmino. I don't think he's going to be with Chelsea for much longer. I think he's going to go out on loan. I also think that's the right move for him. I think we're going to be okay, guys. I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking. I feel good about our transfers, and I don't think that you change course with Xavi Simons and Garnacho to then look at a centre-back. The other player that people have spoken about is Renato Vega, and whether he should come back into the fold, because we've seen him play as a left-sided centre-back for Juventus and perform very well. And from a footballing perspective, taking all emotion away from this, you have to say it's a good argument, isn't it? I mean, it makes sense. He's clearly good enough. He's tall enough. He's got aerial threat. He can pass the ball out well. His distribution is not an issue. But from a more emotional perspective, I'm just thinking, no, I'm not even thinking about quality with Vega. Like, Vega's a very good player, but that's why we're able to sell him for such a nice juicy profit. And we were this close from getting a deal with Atletico for about 30 odd million. So we would have tripled our investment from spending 12 million to making over double, around triple what we paid for him. I just think that the profit that you're going to get from Vega is too hard to turn down, especially at this moment when we have agreed with UEFA that we're going to have to get rid of a certain number of players before we register new players for UEFA competitions. I think that's something that Chelsea are taking very seriously. Let's not forget that Vega did feature in the Conference League. I'm pretty certain that he would have. I can't think of a game off the top of my head, but my God, if he didn't feature in the Conference League, then maybe I wasn't watching. So I think he's going to be sold. I think he's going to be sold. And I think Joel Hatter will be absolutely fine, or whoever else covers, whether it's Chalobah, Fofana, or Tosin, like I just said. So, yeah, that's not a huge issue for me. Moving on, we've got to talk about Nicholas Jackson. It's heating up. It's heating up. Jackson and Nkunku aren't expected to play in the upcoming games for Chelsea. So we've got Bayern Leverkusen and obviously AC Milan at the Bridge. They're both pre-season friendlies before our opening match against Crystal Palace at Stamford Bridge. Listen, Jackson's a player that I appreciate. I like Nico Jackson. I've always been a fan of him. And I'm still a fan of him. And I think that having Jackson as a third choice striker is quality and depth that you wouldn't get if you then sold Jackson. You wouldn't find a replacement that was willing to come to Chelsea and be a third choice striker that's better than Nicholas Jackson. So for that reason, there's your selling point to keep him. All right. If Delap or João Pedro gets injured, you then have two strikers still in there. I think that that's a fair argument. And I do think he's good enough to be a part of our squad. I don't think he's good enough to be our number 9. But I think he's good enough to be a part of our squad. But when you see the numbers floating around that we're seeing, I mean, we've seen the 60 million, 65 million. These numbers, it does make you raise your eyebrows and go, really? We're going to be able to make some serious profit. And let's not act like it's not attainable. We just sold Madueke to Arsenal for 52 million. So it's definitely possible. Yeah, I mean, Fabrizio Romano's come out and had a lot to say. He's had a lot to say. He said that Chelsea are valuing Nicholas Jackson around £80 million, and you see that again confirmed by the Daily Mail with Craig Hope. £80 million asking price. It's been actively circulated by Chelsea, but according to them, we will be willing to negotiate at 60 million with Newcastle. And Newcastle is the main name that's coming up for Nicholas Jackson. He's top of the list for Newcastle because obviously Sesko's gone to United. Tottenham as well, though, are also in the conversation because Richarlison could leave. That's what Sam Wallace from The Telegraph is saying. There's other interest from the Premier League as well as AC Milan and Juventus. I think we just immediately eliminate the Italian clubs who will definitely, I mean, I can't see them spending £60 million. No chance. I don't see it happening. So I think that there's a Premier League move for Nicholas Jackson. I think the most likely destination is going to be Newcastle. And I think that Newcastle have been rejected so many times. Like, they got to get something done because they still need to improve their squad. It's a downgrade ultimately on what they could have had with other players, but they need a boost, especially if Isak's going to go. Fabrizio Romano said his understanding is that Chelsea and Jackson, the decision is mutual to part ways. He will leave Chelsea. They both feel it's time to part ways. It's mad, isn't it? It's absolutely mad. Apparently, Bayern Munich are also in the mix for Nicholas Jackson. It's crazy. Jackson wants to feel important, so he will go. So there you go. I mean, there's plenty going on with Jackson, but again, it's got to be the right price. But the amount of interest, the amount of circulation about this deal potentially happening tells me that it probably will. And although I don't think it's necessarily the best deal for Newcastle, I think they're slightly overpaying. You can understand why they're doing it and why they're desperate. And I think that sort of goes on to the Garnacho deal as well, because Man United are desperate to raise funds. So there's probably a good chance that we'll get him cheap as well. So we're buying players cheap, not all of them, but a number of them. I mean, got a great deal for Hato, great deal for Delap, and potentially a great deal for Garnacho and Javi Simmons, to be fair. I mean, they're all pretty decent deals if we get them done. And then we're selling players high. We're not messing around with our sales. And it's interesting. People saying that Chelsea, penny pinch with the Mike Maignan deal, and we did. But then we're willing to go out and spend so much money on other young players because their book value over time will retain because they're so young and we sign them on these long contracts. They're going to be easy to move on and flip if we want them to, if we wanted to. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys. What do you think about the Levi Colwill injury? That's really unfortunate. And obviously we wish him the best recovery possible. And what's your thoughts on the Jackson deal? Because me personally, I'm certainly open to it, but I'm not actively saying get rid of Nicholas Jackson. I'm not one of those Chelsea fans. I think that Jackson has a lot to offer Chelsea, even as a number 3. I think he can be a useful asset. But having said that, if you're going to make double your money of what you spent for him, I don't think we're going to get a better offer at another point in time. So this is the time to cash in if you're going to make any profit off of the guys. So that's what I think. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Subscribe to the channel, and we will catch up very, very soon.